Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday night monthly support group for Anahat meditation. Thank you for those who are here live. And for those who said you couldn't be here live or watching the recording, thank you again for being part of this work. Let me give everyone a brief overview of the system in case you're relatively new to it. And then we'll spend some time in meditation. If you have questions or anything you want to share, topics you want to go into, please let me know. And then I have two questions from one of our students, and that'll give us some nice fuel of what to talk about. I think the questions relate to a lot of what people are struggling with, right? Working through emotions, understanding love, and that whole process, right, of being with our higher wisdom, but having to integrate that into this world. So Anahat meditation started for me with a similar type of questioning. There's being in this world, like being grounded, being in our bodies. So in sacred geometry, simply stated, that can be represented as a descending triangle, right? Energy coming into the body, or we're coming into our body. We're being grounded, we're being present, we're being focused, we're just being here and now as human beings. Yet just that alone doesn't seem like it's enough, right? That's just a very human way to be. Yes, you're present and you're clear, but there's so much more to who you are. When I was meditating in 1996, trying to figure out how do you integrate being fully grounded, fully in your body, but also fully open to spirit? How can you be in touch with divine light and love, the peace, the joy, the bliss of source, and to be open to all the mystical experiences that go with that? During those early years of my growth, I was having out-of-body experiences pretty much at will. I could leave my body almost any night whenever I wanted to, but it made me very ungrounded, quite dysfunctional in a lot of ways. One, just I didn't really want to be in a body. I didn't want to be doing the human thing. And, I think we can all relate to that to some degree, right? Everybody to some degree has what's called the unconscious death urge, or it gets to the point of, using words like suicidal. But what we're saying is everybody kind of knows this is a temporary experience. And when it's done, maybe a lot of the pain and suffering, you'd hope a lot of the pain and suffering stops. So there's always like a feeling some of us have who are spiritually aware, where you got one foot in heaven, one foot on earth. And it can be really hard to integrate those. For instance, we can be really grounded with our materialism, right? Or just our experience with the physical world, which can include, money and food and job and all those physical things. And obviously we need to keep doing that. But then there's that spiritual side. For those who get very into their spirituality, you don't really want to deal with the physical, right? But you have to. So I was asking in deep meditation, how can you integrate the two of these? How can you be fully grounded and present the way we get in Zen practice? And how can we be fully open to spirit that we get in a lot of the esoteric or mystical branches of religion? What started coming to me in meditation were energy patterns moving through my body, but not really the body, you might say the energy body, the energy meridians. And having been a Chinese medical student for years in two different Chinese medical colleges, I knew a lot about the meridians, but nobody had told me about these sacred geometrical grids. At the time, 1996, I really didn't have the internet to go to and do Google searches. I didn't know what Metatron's cube was or the flower of life or any of that. As the internet became more popular, right, it was very easy to go find this information, but I was going to libraries just trying to find any book on, at first, just the Jewish stars, right? All I knew it to be. Is what happened to me when energy started moving through these patterns. It started tracing these grids, and it was very much based on the six-pointed star with an ascending triangle and a descending triangle. And what that was showing me was the heart was the center of that. So I started finding within myself a system of meditating that was kind of revealing itself to me in a specific order and saying, if you just do this and you teach that to others, both you and others, are going to benefit from that. So I'm not wanting to create a new meditation system. I never did. But there's a very unique way of practicing here, which for those who have done it, you realize, oh, this offers really amazing benefits. So part of that is the fully descended, fully ascended with a fully open heart, or fully grounded, fully open to spirit with a fully open heart. What it could encourage you to do in this system is to be aware of all 7 chakras simultaneously, from tailbone to crown, to know that you are a 7 chakra being, right? Not to eliminate any aspect of who you are, right? You have sexual energy, you have emotions, you have an intellect, there's the spirit side of you, which is, of course, the real you. So by breathing through these patterns, we get in touch with all of these levels, but we also are purifying the energy meridians as we go. So in Chinese medicine, or in the practice of Qigong or Tai Chi, we end up with blockages in the system. And I had realized early on in my studies, there are blocks to the awareness of love's presence, right? I wanted to tap back into all of that light and love that I had first experienced when I woke up spiritually. But then I learned everybody has blocks to that. One of the ways, one of the questions one of our students asked is basically how to move through the blockages. Imagine any blockage that when energy is just kind of moving over it, it's gradually wearing it away. So while we have powerful techniques like breath work or plant medicine or hypnotic regression that can blow through blockages, we also just need a daily maintenance, right? Of what can you do to keep your system open? So when you're doing Anahat meditation, it's helping you to be fully human with a fully open heart, fully open to spirit. It starts integrating your sexual energy into your experience, which makes the meditations wonderfully pleasurable and blissful. And it helps you to embrace and integrate your sexuality in a way that I might want to say is practical, right? Where it's not something you do every so often. It's an energy, which is obviously very pleasurable, that can move through your whole system. So as you're moving energy through the Anahat system, through the meridians of the arms and the legs, up and down the spine, through the star tetrahedral pattern, you're constantly purifying the meridians just by moving energy through. So it's very similar to Tai Chi or Qigong practice. The difference is that you're sitting down while you're practicing, you're not moving. So tonight, now, I'll guide us through a meditation to work with the basic first meditations of Anahat. So that's going to be descending, heart-centered, ascending. Might as well touch upon the sexual energy tonight. It's okay, we'll be gentle with that, discreet and professional about that, but we can dive into that. So basically meditations 1 through 5 is what I just described. 4 being the sexual energy, 5, so to keep it simple, 1, descending, 2, heart-centered, 3, ascending, 4, down to the sexual energy, then 5 that brings back that energy back up into spirit. So it's basically sublimating the sexual energy, but then it starts moving through the patterns of the 6-pointed star. It's bringing the energy up into spirit, down into the human experience. So if you were to visualize that, right, you bring all your attention up into divine light and love, comes down into your body. You breathe it back down below your navel. So you're anchoring it in. Then it moves back up and starts nourishing the region of the kidneys, or essentially all of the lower internal organs, which we could talk a lot about, but we won't right now. And then it comes back up again. It continues this cycle through the 6-pointed star. The more you do that, the more you start sensing this integration and this balance where you're embracing your higher spirituality continually, but also embracing your humanness and even your sexual energy continually. Yet let's go a bit deeper tonight for those of you who have been doing this for a while. I'll talk briefly about level 2, and then I'll take us into meditation. When we're doing level 1 of Anahat, there are 12 meditations. I just talked about the first 6 briefly. When you're doing the first 12, you're focused largely on the physical body, right? When you breathe below your navel, it's very much a somatic, a visceral feeling of being there with your body. And each meditation in level 1 is very much body-centered, which is important. But you're so much more than a body. So level 2 essentially are the same meditations, but we shift up an octave. So your attention is no longer on the physical plane. You shift to becoming aware of the subtle energetics. You might say your attention goes to where your chakras are, where the acupuncture meridians are. You're shifting to your aura, if you want to use that term, rather than your body. You're shifting to the subtle geometric grids themselves rather than your body. When you do that, you start to, it's very hard to talk about, your attention is just on, it's the etheric plane is where your attention goes. So if you close your eyes for a moment to help you to get a feel for that, because it's very hard to find words to show you where to put your attention. If you were to feel your body, but then expand your consciousness out of your body, so you're aware of the space around your body. But instead of thinking about with your eyes closed that there's like a physical desk or chair, whatever's in your surroundings, imagine going up. It's so hard to use words for this. Go up an octave, go up to a more subtle vibration where you're as if perceiving the desk or the chair or whatnot as an energy, not as a physical thing. So when we shift to level 2, the attention, if it helps now, you're going to, like if you focus on your heart, for instance, there's your physical heart, but when we say like, oh, my heart is broken, we're not talking about your physical heart. When you have emotions, you have this more subtle feeling, which is not a physical thing. It's an emotion. When you go to level 2 of Anahat, you're transferring your awareness to that, right? So where's your heart chakra? If you go up to your head, you have like your third eye or the Ajna chakra, the third eye chakra. That is not in your physical body. It's an octave up. And then if you expand your awareness out of your body a bit, you can sense this like aura, this energy that surrounds your body. When we start doing that, it's increasing and opening what you might call psychic or intuitive or clairvoyant levels of being, because you're not in your physical anymore. So while our eyes are closed, let's just meditate on it. I'll guide you through meditations 1 through 6. 7 to 12 are just harder to describe unless you're really familiar with it. So we'll do 1 to 6, but then I'll take you a bit into level 2, where we'll shift out of the physical body a bit and help you get a sense of how valuable that can be in tapping into these higher levels of reality. It will relate a lot to out-of-body experiences. It relates a lot to the deep experience of samadhi, where body and mind eventually can drop away. So we start with descending. We start with grounding the energy. Breathe below your navel. And focus in your physical body. So you're aware of your arms. You're aware of your legs. Ideally, you're sitting with a straight spine. We do this often on a meditation cushion, but on Zoom. Just a lot easier to sit in front of a computer. But normally I'm sitting on a meditation cushion in a half or quarter lotus position. So really give thought to your body. Feel your body, the position of your body. Let your chin be slightly tucked in. Breathe down below your navel. And as you breathe in, be aware that you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, be aware that you're breathing out. Be conscious of every breath. So the object of fixation is the region below your navel and your breathing, which is very much your body. We often count the breaths as a very simple, non-theistic or not dogmatic or religious way to simply meditate. It's very universal just to count. And it's very valuable. So let's practice that. Even though it's super simple, as you breathe below your navel, just think to yourself 1 as you inhale. Exhale, keeping the awareness below the navel, think 2. Inhale, count 3. Exhale, 4. Keep going. It's very simple. When you get to 10, just start again at 1. And as you're doing that, I'll just talk to you more about what's happening as we're descending. Wherever your consciousness goes, blood and energy will follow. So when you breathe below your navel, it brings your energy down into your arms, down into your legs, down into all of your internal organs. When you're half in your body and half out of your body, it's not really good for your health. You want your blood and energy to flow through your whole system. So with meditation 1, descending, we're gathering our energy into the body. Find your breath in that space below your navel to be in the here and now. You're breathing and counting in the present moment. Breathing in, you're consciously breathing in. Breathing out, you're aware that you're breathing out. The focus is somewhat down, chin slightly tucked in, eyes slightly looking down. And your eyes could be open or closed, but it's nighttime, so feel free to keep your eyes closed and enjoy breathing below your navel, forgetting and letting go about the past, forgetting and letting go of the future. Be very intimate with the present moment. There's nothing to attain because everything you want is truly here now. So simply breathe and practice being here now. Nothing special, nothing to accomplish, no mystical power, no high spiritual goals, just sitting here breathing. Sense your body relaxing, not because you're trying to relax, but the more you come into the present moment, the more peaceful you'll feel. And your body follows, being at peace. Right here now, being at peace, yet present with your body. When you practice Anahat meditation, it's a good idea to do this first meditation as long as you need to until you feel very centered, very grounded, very clear, very present. All your energy should feel stable, no longer scattered from the day. You're not up in your head thinking. You're just breathing with your body. Once everything feels like it's in a place of homeostasis or balance, everything ideally feels comfortable and easy. The belly is soft. When you're ready, if you were doing this on your own, you might take a lot longer. But for now, let's breathe up to meditation 2 at the heart, heart-centered. So inhale and pull awareness from your belly up to your heart. As you exhale, keep the awareness in the heart. And the theme here is open. Breathe up to your heart as you inhale. Exhale, open. You can keep breathing and counting here if you like. Yet the general intention at your heart is keep it open. The energy of the heart when it's truly open and clear is only love. The heart chakra, the center here, is Anahat chakra. Its symbol is a 6-pointed star. So it's the center of the higher and lower chakras. So be in your heart, the place of balance between higher and lower, keeping your heart open and opening to love. Breathing into your heart, love for yourself, self-love. Opening your heart to the love of family and friends. You might think of anyone you love to get that feeling flowing. But realize that feeling is in you. And that feeling, which is really the one energy of all that is everywhere. So take the love beyond love for yourself as an individual, beyond the love of family and friends. And let's start to extend it out to all sentient beings, humans, every one of them, all plants, all animals, the earth itself, just only love. Breathing at your heart, letting everything else go. Anything that's not love, just forgive it and let it go. So when you're breathing here, opening your heart, no more suppressing, no more defenses. Meditation 2, heart-centered, just be open. Your heart will heal itself when you stop suppressing or clenching or closing down. Just open and let go. Breathing at the heart. Only love. Now you're embracing your emotional self and any other emotions that are not pure love. You feel and you let go. So now you're able to be fully grounded and centered in your body with a heart that's fully open to love. Now, as you direct your attention up a bit towards your third eye point, towards your forehead, start focusing in and up. Taking the energy up through the heart, we breathe up to the head. And you're opening here to a space of pure consciousness. Keep the focused energy of meditation 1, the concentration, and the love of your heart, and direct it up towards spirit, towards consciousness, towards the pure peace of the self. Now the love goes towards the love of capital S, self. You might call that divine love. The love of the source of love, which is love. But now we're going to the transcendent. So now you're rising above your human sense of self. Gently let your eyes roll up, but it's not your eyes. It's your consciousness you're focusing on. Imagine you're like a helium balloon that was untethered from below and you float up, floating up your spine, floating up into your head, and going in and up. You're transcending. You're putting your attention on the highest that you are aware of. You're still breathing, staying conscious and mindful and present. Energy moves up through your heart, up your spine, up to the crown and third eye region. Focus on the I am presence. Aware that you're aware. I am. Find the pure peace of who you are as I am. Find the silence of just being. Nothing to accomplish. Inside of you as you, there's already only peace. Only love. Sense the inherent goodness and purity of your truest self as you breathe high up, transcending the human. Finding the self which is absolutely pure, completely free, and always there, so it's forever, eternal and immortal. Nothing to accomplish, nowhere to go. Just keep being in the presence of pure awareness. letting your mind quiet down. And if you still need to breathe and count to keep yourself present, certainly do that. Or just let my voice guide you into the peace of your own soul. In case you forget about this during a hectic week or whatever, as you breathe here, you're reminded this is the seat of the soul, the witness, the observer, the knower. Find the knower and simply hold your attention there. Now, if you take your chin and tuck it in just a little bit again, so you're focused a bit down, then take a breath and focus all the way down below your navel, all the way down towards the tailbone. In meditation 4, we acknowledge that there's still a body here. And in the practice of Tantra, we acknowledge the power of Kundalini, Kundalini Shakti, and essentially the sexual energy. So as you breathe way down into your body, you can notice, hopefully now, just a subtle sense that you're aware that your body has sexual organs, that there are feelings down here when we focus here. Take the love and the peace and the silence and the fulfillment and bring that down to the idea of you as a sexual being, making peace with that, bringing love to that part of you, honoring who you are as a sexual being and the way you express yourself. Whatever you do with that energy, however it manifests, whatever you call yourself, just breathe into it. This energy is meant to be pleasurable. And when we're breathing the peace and love of spirits down into our body, we acknowledge what real pleasure is. The ego confuses pleasure with pain, yet as you get really clear in a space of spirit, you're meant to feel good. So this meditation number 4, sexual energy, is just a gentle acknowledgement of who you are on all levels, no judgment. Welcome perfect acceptance. Knowing that we can misuse our sexuality, we can get into many uncomfortable journeys with that. But now when we go to meditation 5, we're going to pull that energy up our spine to the head in the model of sublimating sexual energy, transforming it, not suppressing or denying it, not saying you wouldn't be sexual, just saying, let's bring that attention back up to spirit. So as you inhale, it'll go up your back, up to your head. And as you exhale, you're going to feel like you're circulating the energy up at your head. So inhale from your sexual energy region, up your spine, up the back, through the head, and then exhale and keep your awareness up in your head. But we'll do that quite a few times. Back down to the sexual energy. Inhale it up the spine to the head. Exhale, keep it at the head. Once again, from the sexual energy region, inhale it up. Exhale, feel like you're circulating it through your brain. And again, each inhalation gathers the sexual energy, pulls it up the spine to the head, and we exhale at the head. You would keep doing this until you feel that any of the energy down there is essentially transformed. It's calm, it's settled, and the attention is more up in the higher chakras again. This is only level 1, and level 3, we really get into the sexual energy, but this is a very gentle beginning of the sublimation idea, the alchemical idea of transforming lower energies into higher energies. So once again, from the sexual energy, inhale up to the head. Exhale, keep your awareness up there, and we'll start putting attention again on that higher region, up into spirit, up into consciousness. Find the peace of your own soul, the pure awareness of your own being. And then moving into meditation 6, where it really starts to integrate with the sacred geometry of the 6-pointed star. Inhale up to the crown, third eye region. Exhale down to your shoulders, so your tension drops down. Soften your shoulders. Let's do that a few times. Inhale up to the top of your head. Exhale down to your shoulders. Inhale up to spirit. Imagine infinite light and love all up above. As you exhale to your shoulders, let it descend down into your body. Open your heart, soften your shoulders, and again, inhale up to spirit. Exhale down to your shoulder. From the shoulders, the next official breath is to inhale back below the navel, or down to the sexual energy if you want. From below the navel, exhale to the region of the kidneys, up to the level of even your liver, gallbladder, spleen, stomach, pancreas. So we'll go through the whole process of meditation 6. Inhale to the head. Exhale to the shoulders. Inhale below the navel. Exhale to the level of the kidney. Inhale back to the head, and that's one cycle. Exhale, shoulder. Inhale below the navel. Exhale, kidney. Inhale back to the head. Find the peace of what's above, and as you exhale, let the peace descend to your shoulders and your open heart. Pull that light of spirit in as you inhale below your navel, or all the way down to your tailbone. And then exhale it back up to nurture all of your internal organs with light and love. As you inhale back up through an open heart to your head, and then exhale from your head down to your shoulder. Stay soft and open as you inhale again below the navel. Grounded, focus centered in your body. Exhale, softening your belly, opening to this light in your lower regions as you inhale it up again to spirit at the crown, third eye. Exhale it down to the shoulders. Inhale below the navel. Exhale, kidney. Inhale up to the third eye. Keep that going. I'll do it a few more times, and I'll encourage you to keep doing it on your own. And I'll start to explain level 2 a bit, so you can transfer consciousness that octave up. So again, we inhale to the head. Exhale to soft shoulders, letting that light and love descend into your body. Then inhale, gather it below your navel. Exhale to the level of the kidney. Pull the energy up to the crown. And then exhale it down to the shoulder. Inhale it down below your navel. Be sure to go at your own pace. Exhale to the kidney. So keep doing that. Now, I'm talking about your physical body here for level 1, but level 2, start to become aware of the geometrical grid that you're tracing here. When you inhale to your head, you're going up an ascending triangle. Exhale to your shoulders, you're going down the top of the ascending triangle, and at your shoulders is the top of a descending triangle. As you inhale from your shoulders below your navel, that's the descending triangle. Exhale up to your kidneys, and that's the base of an ascending triangle. Inhale from kidneys to third eye, that's the whole ascending triangle. Exhale down to your shoulders, but trace the triangle. Don't worry about your body. Find the top of that descending triangle and inhale to its base below the navel. Exhale to the base of the ascending triangle at the kidneys. Inhale up that triangle to your third eye crown region. Keep going as we did before, but you start to focus on the energy, not on the body. Now, for those of you who have truly practiced level 2, you know that it's 3-dimensional. So it's not a star, a 6-pointed star in 2 dimensions. It's a 3-dimensional 6-pointed star, which is a star tetrahedron. So if you imagine the ascending triangle as a tetrahedron, then you expand it into 3 dimensions. So we inhale up, exhale to the shoulders, and notice there's a 3-dimensional tetrahedron going from the shoulder region down below the navel. You're breathing, but find the breath within the breath. You're moving energy with your awareness. And start to transfer your awareness outside your body. The star tetrahedral field is much bigger than your body. You can focus on Metatron's cube here. There's 13 circles in that called the fruit of life. So if you can visualize that, you're breathing into that pattern. A star tetrahedral field around your body. Focus on visualize meridians, chakras, and then realize, if you can imagine seeing, not with your eyes, the desk, the floor, the chair on this level. Like I was saying before, it's an octave up. Might not be the proper use of the word in music, but it's very hard to describe. But practice transferring your attention out of the physical. Be bigger than a body. Put your attention on the non-physical. The more you contemplate these grids as you're breathing, you could also be aware of your heart. In the center of this larger tetrahedral field is your heart chakra. Again, remember its symbol is a 6-pointed star. And yet on the 3-dimensional, it's another tetrahedron, a star tetrahedron. So feel and see if you can feel, sense, feel, however you do it, the star within the star. From tailbone to crown is the larger star. And at your heart, the very center of what you're breathing around, is a sphere, and within it, that 6-pointed star. You're becoming more intimate with the energy of your body. Yet remember, it's not that your body lets off this energy. This energy is letting off a body. Your body doesn't let off an aura. Your aura lets off a body. So you're putting your attention on the auric field. And this is very much the first layer, the etheric grid, the etheric template. The more you pull your consciousness out of your body into the etheric body, then when you have an out-of-body experience, you can travel in the etheric body. But you have to become familiar with it first. To learn how to transfer your attention, your consciousness, away from the physical and into the non-physical. And here, the object of meditation, what we focus on is still the breath, perhaps still breathing and counting, but you're tracing the patterns of the star. The practice makes you feel very peaceful, very integrated, even though you're not quite in your body, you're still embracing the space around your body. And you're slowly, subtly purifying your energy meridians with every breath. Let's take the awareness back towards the body level so you can focus below your navel again. Let your chin go down again just a little bit. And let's just breathe all that energy back to the body. Be aware of your physical arms and legs. Breathe below your navel. And just start to gather all the chi, all the life force again in your hara, the space below your navel, and even into your heart. Fully grounded, fully open to spirit, with the fully open heart. Fully grounded, fully open to spirit, with the fully open heart. Yet we want to be sure we're coming back down towards the body, in the body, awareness with the body. Because again, you don't want to be out of your body all the time. You don't want to be so ungrounded that you're not functional. So again, practice being fully open to spirit with a fully open heart, while still being very mature and present to your body. More centered, more present, more clear, and more empowered towards a sense of life mastery, or at least self-mastery. That you're in control of what's happening here, meaning you choose what you think, you choose what you feel, you choose the life that you would live. You're not a victim to this experience. You're choosing to make this experience ever more beautiful, ever more pleasant and clear and balanced and comfortable. And this is the reminder to do whatever part of this practice you understand morning and evening, and to keep it alive. Whenever you get out of balance, this technique is here for you. You never really get out of balance, and you remember to do it morning and evening. All right, so take your time. We'll start to transition. I'm going to answer 2 student questions for those who'd like to stay around for that. So if you find it kind of hard to transition, you can rub your hands together, massage your face, back of your head and neck. I can help you to open up, wake up a little bit. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. If you'd like to share anything, please use the chat pod. And for the rest of the time we have, let me read 2 questions. and offer whatever insight I can. Number one, can you talk about the process of purifying the meridian system? Then I'll just kind of paraphrase with a quick glance over this paragraph. It says, lots of energy, tingling in hands, crown, all chakras. Seems like purification of the energy body is a long-winded process of surrendering to the life force, the Shakti, but shocked at the excess levels of fear and primordial emotions that are clearing. Not comfortable, nightmarish, unsettling, but no choice to trust, he says. Been entering bliss, but when the meditation's going, quote, badly, I don't really know where to find retreat other than sleep or to console a friend. Okay, so the purification of the process. What's happening for this first question, when you're living, it's going to happen anyway, but when you do Anahat meditation, you're really going to speed up the evolutionary process, right? The energy is doing its best, trying to purify your meridians. That's what it wants to do. Just like the healing energy wants to heal your wounds when you have a wound, it wants to heal our hearts. So when we start Anahat meditation and we breathe below the navel, we're pulling a lot of energy down through the heart. So what happens anyway is the Shakti comes in through the higher chakras down the chakra system. Then it wants to come back up, right? So it's a constant descending of energy and then a reascending of energy. And it comes right up the spine, right? But most people are not clear. They've spent their life suppressing their emotions, tensing their body armoring, closing down, not fully breathing, trying to limit breathing, to not feel, using drugs, substances, whatever, to not have to feel emotions, to numb ourselves to feelings. When you stop that whole suppression process and you're doing Anahat meditation, where you're breathing the energy down into your body, just that alone is pulling energy through your heart. But now all the energy that was coming in anyway is really coming in because you're intentionally doing it at the hara, below your navel. Once you move to meditation 2, heart-centered, it's coming up, right? It's wanting to move through you. It's not going to be pure love and pure peace and pure bliss yet because of all the pain that a lot of us carry in there. And, that's not necessarily just childhood. Those of you who have opened to those levels find their past life memories in there, right? They're what we call sanskars, these blockages in your heart. There's only a few ways, but you don't need a whole lot. And there's lots of techniques, but generally just a few things you need to know. Number one, just keep sitting through it. There's nothing you really have to do about it. Just get on the meditation cushion, right? Just like there's the cushion. You just get on the cushion. You just sit and breathe and trust. Just keep trusting. This is what our student said, like it's just trusting, sitting with it. What happens, the more you're opening your heart and getting that energy to flow, it'll start to burn away blockages. So either you're feeling the bliss and peace of meditation, great, you win. And if you're feeling this terrible feeling inside, keep sitting and you're winning there too, because the negative feeling is the energy burning through your blockage. Don't try to stop that process. When it's cooking, when it's hot, when it's uncomfortable, sit in the fire. In yogic practice, that's called Kriya. There's a style of yoga called Kriya Yoga. You look into it and you get initiations and it'll speed up this whole process. There's, hundreds of systems out there. So which one do you choose? I don't know, whatever you feel inspired to, but this is an Anahat meditation class is going to do all of that anyway. I know people who do lots of different practices, and Anahat meditation seems to cover most of them, right? If we're descending, we're doing a lot of Zen practice. We're working on the heart that deals with all sorts of heart-centered type of meditations, focused on love, right? And then as we focus in the higher up, the crown, third eye region, we're focusing on spirit. So any ascending type of meditation from any system is essentially just that motion, right? So these 3 simple meditations, descending, heart-centered, ascending, cover your whole chakra system and the entire central channel. So the energy by default is trying to purify what's in the way. Keep letting go, keep forgiving, which is another way of saying let go. Just give it over to the energy. If you want to make it like a prayer, if you use a term like Holy Spirit, so of Course in Miracles or even Christian way of saying it, right? But whatever tradition, whatever you call it, you could say something like, Spirit, I give this to you. I don't want this. I feel the fear. I feel the darkness. I feel the sadness. I give it to you. Just keep breathing and opening. So that's the teaching. What do you do with the blockages? Well, in this system, because the energy is moving through your being so much, it's going to purify what's there over time. If you want to speed that up, the systems I know that I teach that I believe are really the best systems to clear what's there, breath work. So in our school, we train people in breath work. So holotropic breathing, rebirthing, integrated breathing, there's about 12 different names for essentially the same thing. So now we just kind of call it breath work, right? It's becoming more and more popular. It's good to do it with facilitation so that what comes up can be truly resolved by somebody who knows how to heal what comes up. But breath work will simply speed up the process. When we do Anahat meditation, we're breathing through the nose, and it's kind of gentle. It's not this forceful breath work type of breath. I won't demonstrate the breath work breath now because I don't think people should just do it on their own without facilitation or proper guidance. But when you go through a full breath work experience, it just starts pure purging the stuff that you buried inside. Now, that's not enough, though. You need to have good facilitation to resolve what's inside of you. So if there's three options tonight, one was just sit there with it and let it burn itself away through meditation. It takes years, but what else are you going to do? You want to speed that up. Number two is breath work. Just keep going through the breath work, usually as a rebirther, 10 sessions. We would recommend any new client get 10 rebirthing sessions, and you're going to clear a lot of those blocks. So you just don't have to deal with it slowly over time, right? So every breath wears away at what's in there, but the breath work experience just, times 10 or whatever. It seriously amplifies the process. The other process, number three, that goes along with this, which is gentler than breath work, is hypnotic regression, right? In your heart, it's not just a blockage, it's very much a psyche there. So you have an inner child who lives there. You have the hurt, sad, angry, scared, wounded child, right? That which is nightmarish in there is actually just a little boy or girl, and then of course we can get into the past life stuff, but that's kind of underneath the present day inner child. So the real work usually is just deal with your present day inner child. When we do a regression, we are bringing that part of the mind to consciousness so we can go through a very precise process, a duplicable process to heal what's there. There are only a limited number of blockages in here. It might seem like a lot and it'll be there forever. It might be there for 10 or 20 years of intense spiritual practice, but eventually all of that can be cleared. The main hope, I can tell you, is every time you clear a blockage, there's a new channel of light that's there, a new channel of love. And again, there's only X number of blockages. The blockages are temporary. That light is eternal. So just keep surrendering and trusting and giving that up. Again, if you just meditate this way, it'll slowly clear those blocks. However, if you want to speed it up, hypnotic regression or breath work, techniques like EMDR or just eye movement therapy can be really helpful. However, whatever's there needs to be in consciousness for those techniques to work. So if you have a buried, suppressed, or repressed inner child, those techniques really can't touch it. So with breath work or regression, we can bring that to consciousness. And then there's a proper place for those other type of techniques. However, this isn't the place to go into that here. All right, let me open to you guys. If you have any questions or sharing, please see something in Q&A, but let me answer this one other question and then we'll go from there. He says, can you talk about how to handle the meaninglessness of love? So we have to look at the question itself and say, is there a fallacy in the question? But the question is, can you talk about how to handle the meaninglessness of love? It's the intellect that I'm reading from the student. It's the intellect that tries to rationalize and extrapolate the meaning of love, but yet love has no meaning. It simply is. So, well, I'll read a little more. When I'm in function, feeling into and extending the love, that I have no issues with the meaninglessness of it. But when I'm in ego and looking through the darkened glass of perception, I feel existential misery. I'm learning to surrender the faulty logic of the ego, but talk about backlash, possibly an absence of patience and a lack of trust. But at times I feel like I'm not going to be led through the other side. Okay, so let's just talk about the meaninglessness of love. The word meaning is extremely hard to define. And if you actually Google it, it defines, it's like, what does the word meaning mean? They often define the word with the word, which doesn't explain anything. So what do you mean by mean? Right? Mean doesn't mean angry. So we can eliminate that here. Right? What do we mean? What does that word mean? Well, in A Course in Miracles is the best way to answer this question. What we see in the realm of perception doesn't mean anything. This chair doesn't mean anything. This table doesn't mean anything. This desk doesn't mean anything. The camera doesn't mean anything. What we see in the realm of perception is meaningless. Your thoughts are also meaningless. The thoughts of the ego that say, this is stupid, this shouldn't be this way, I don't like this, that's all meaningless. You don't have to have those thoughts, right? So what you are perceiving outside of you is considered meaningless in A Course in Miracles. Your mind, your insane thoughts, are also meaningless because they could say something totally different and they would just change your perception of reality. But now, is reality meaningless? Is love meaningless? A Course in Miracles says no. So there's a fallacy in the question. Now, it's very hard to define meaning, so I'm not going to even attempt to do that. But I can tell you in A Course in Miracles, actually, I pulled it up. I can show you. If you go to A Course in Miracles, lesson 14, so you can find this at acim.org. And then you can go to the workbook lessons. The lessons start with this idea of meaning. And they go into gently, very gently, helping your mind to realize nothing I see means anything. This world is meaningless. But it goes on to say, well, let's actually jump back to lessons. I am upset because I see a meaningless world, but don't project meaninglessness onto God's creations. And in Course in Miracles, what you see with your body's eyes are not God's creations. God's creations are perfect and eternal. What you see with your body's eyes, not perfect, not eternal, therefore not a creation of God. Essentially, what you see is an illusion. It is make-believe, therefore it's meaningless. So there's no meaning in illusions, but there is meaning in truth. So I'm upset because I see a meaningless world, and a meaningless world engenders fear. Remember, there's only two emotions, fear or love. If you're in the ego, you're in fear, you're in perception, you're in meaninglessness. When we have the miraculous, literally, right, Course in Miracles, the miraculous shift back into love, now we're back into spirit, and there's only two emotions, fear or love. Love is not meaningless. God did not create a meaningless world. The idea for today is, of course, the reason why a meaningless world is impossible. What God did not create does not exist. And everything that does not exist and everything that does exist exists as he created it. The world you see has nothing to do with reality. It is of your own making and does not exist. Okay, so I encourage anybody who's interested in this topic, contemplate the beginning Course in Miracles lessons up here to number 14 at least. And then, 15, it's still going to be in the same realm of things. So my answer, though, to your question, having said that, is, well, where's the meaning? Where's the purpose? So if this world is meaningless, what's the point? Because we're here. So I'm glad we did meditation. We have descending and we have ascending. If we descend into a meaningless world, what's the point? There is no point to it. What's the point of that which is an illusion and meaningless? For spirit, there's no point to an illusion at all. However, in A Course in Miracles and Buddhism and other religions, they clearly acknowledge the reality of suffering, right? That if you imagine a line, right, above and below is the meaningless illusion. Above is heaven, is light and love, the angelic realms, right? When we ascend, we're going into that. That's not meaningless. You might say, well, it just is. But again, I can't define what meaning is. So yes, love just is. But when we do Anahat, we go up to that, and then we come back down continually. Every time you come back down, I mean, not in every breath, but the kind of just as a daily practice, you meditate in the morning, maybe you tap into the bliss and the love and the peace, but then you go and live your life and you notice there's a lot of suffering, and not just suffering, but attack. There's cruelty, right? The world is in a really rough place right now, and it's with climate change probably not getting much better, as far as what the environment's doing. There's just more and more floods and devastation. So to me, where does the meaning come from? Mission, dharma, purpose. What is the meaning of love living in this world? To be of compassionate service. So is there any meaning, like, well, this is a meaningless world, but you're here, you've incarnated here, right? And in meditation 9, I believe it's number 9 or 10, I always forget, of Anahat meditation, we have the wings meditation. Your heart is fully open. You're fully open to spirit. When the energy comes up to the crown, it creates a halo effect in the aura, right? Which is what you'll see represented on saints, or like in the picture of Jesus. And then it branches out into this heart shape that's a tube torus in sacred geometry. And it's the sacred geometry of compassion. So these are like the angelic wings that unfold. So what is, if you say, well, love just is, but what is love made visible, right? Like the word was made flesh, as it says in the Bible. What is it? And it's not, spirit doesn't become flesh, so that needs clarification. However, spirit is having this human experience. Spirit is love. So what's the meaning and purpose? If you want to exchange like meaning, purpose, there's only purpose in a mission, your dharmic mission, the reason you're here, which is, of course, Miracle says, I'm only here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me. I'm here to represent the divine that sent me. So if you were an angel here, if you were a bodhisattva here, you wouldn't say love is meaningless. In a space of love, you're whole and complete. And the only purpose of the body is a communication device. For spirit, the body has no function. Like, what do you need a body for? And an illusion. You don't need an illusion, so you're going to need a body. However, spirit does need a body to communicate to those who are also doing the human experience. In A Course in Miracles, it teaches without the plan of the teachers, salvation would be pretty much impossible, because who would hear the word of God? Because they're not listening to their own inner voice, but they can hear it through their bodily ears, through another vessel, vehicle, right? Which is like this body can be used to teach I don't say the word of God, that sounds very Christian, but right, to speak divine truths. So to me, in A Course in Miracles, love is not meaningless, but it's meaningless apart from relationship, right? Like you as pure love, right, you just are. So the idea, because this question was about one's own inner turmoil and blocks, two parts to spiritual growth. Number one, heal yourself. Number two, get out there and heal others. That's what matters. Blissing out in meditation doesn't really matter. It's not hard to achieve, the bliss and peace of meditation, right? I can guide you into that pretty easy. But what's the real work of spiritual practice? Well, once you heal yourself, once you've forgiven everything you could possibly forgive, there's nothing left to forgive, then what is your purpose? Forgive. You are for giving. What are you meant to give? Love. What are you meant to teach? Love. What's meaningful and important? Love. So in relationship, in sacred healing relationships, love is it's what it's all about, right? So I wouldn't say love is meaningless. God did not create a meaningless world. There's tremendous meaning in sharing love, in extending love. In A Course in Miracles, God's kingdom, the creations of God, the child of God, the son of God, right, sons and daughters of God, that is an ever-expanding kingdom. Communication and creation are synonyms. As God creates, he's she is communicating itself, is extending itself. That's not a meaningless process. That is a glorious process. In Islam, it's called, and I hope I use this term correctly, the Kibriya, the glory of God. But the glory of God is very much represented as like this human experience, the glory of what it means just to exist, the glory of this earth, like God's glory. So love isn't meaningless. So I would reframe that question for sure. And then, yeah, look at initial Course in Miracles lesson should help with this. And then really contemplate what it means to have a mission and a purpose. So no matter how bleak this world appears to be, or how dark, or how miserable, or whatever's going on this planet, you're only here to be truly helpful. You're here to represent him who sent you, and you just keep doing dharmic service, compassionate service, bodhisattvic work, living from love. All right, great. Let's go to, I saw the Q&A pod first, and then I'll go to the chat pod. Great. Hello, Amanda, who said this was a perfect integration for me as I started practice White Tantra to transmute sexual energy into my heart chakra. Amazing visualizing the Metatron cube and getting this wisdom. Thank you, my dear Matthew. So happy with this experience today and always awesome. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah. So in tantric practice, usually it's more than just sexual energy, but a lot of people know that if you want to integrate the sexual energy into your spiritual experience, then people practice Tantra. And a lot of that can be done alone or with a partner, but you're quite often stimulating sexual energy and then learning how to move that through your whole system, not to just ejaculate and be done, but to let that go for hours and hours of bliss and pleasure. And so in Anahat meditation, in level 1, we touch upon the sexual energy and then we just pull it up, and that's about it. Level 2, essentially the same thing. But in level 3, Anahat meditation students are encouraged to learn about Tantra. And I talk about it a little, but I try not to go too into the sexual energy teachings online, just for professional reasons and whatnot. But when you stimulate that energy, now it's called Hat Jing. In Chinese philosophy, what I learned in Chinese medical school, when you're not stimulating sexual energy, it's called cold Jing. Jing is essentially like seminal essence, like semen, but the subtle energy. And it takes a lot of calories or energy to create semen. It's considered a very precious substance in Chinese philosophy. And when we ejaculate, we're releasing that. When we seal that off, there's different ways to do that. Like in yogic practice, we have what are called the bandhas, or the bund. Mula bandha is root locking. So you're locking the energy from going out and you're channeling it back up. We're doing that in Anahat meditation. So I'm glad, Amanda, you could feel that. But then when the energy is stimulated and then you move it through this system, if you haven't done that yet, I'm not encouraging any type of sexual practice here, but really consider that when you're doing tantric practice and that energy gets stimulated, then go through the Anahat meditation system, because then you're moving all of that delicious, pleasurable, blissful feeling through all of these meridians, through these channels. It's incredible what that feels like when you're doing that. So awesome. My pleasure to help you out there. All right, and I guess I'm using names tonight. Aradia, welcome, who said, the grounding is absolutely wonderful. As the energy moves up to the heart, it is pure bliss, pure love, purely wonderful. As it begins to circulate through the body, I started moving out, seeing through my, quote, eyes to seeing the room around me and shifting the energy as it goes back to grounding, breathing the energy stronger. And each cycle of circulating is just more beautiful than the last. Great, thank you for sharing. Yeah, so when we're just breathing in right here, like in Zen practice, there's nothing special about it. You're just sitting. You're not even trying to get bliss or anything. It's peaceful just because when you're in the moment, there's no fear. You're not in the past, you're not in the future. There's nothing to be afraid of right now. Like even if someone walk in the room with a knife, until that knife is about to go through your skin, you're okay, right? So it's like, just relax. Nobody in the room with a knife anyway. So like, you're okay. Like, just be here now. But then when we start moving it into the heart, now we're really embracing that energy of love. I'm glad you're talking about it. Yeah, pure bliss, wonderful. To me, meditation isn't just about blissing out, though. I'm sure it's not for you either, right? But as I was talking about before, like once we get really open, not only are you feeling incredible, yet my experience is that idea of mission is all permeating the idea of purpose, dharma, why are you here? So once I get to, this sublime, amazing place and there's nothing else to accomplish, usually it's, all right, now go write that book. Okay, now go create that course. Okay, here's the new business endeavor. Go do that. It always tends to be about, okay, now that I'm in an amazing space, how can I best be of service? I often see Anahat meditation as unity up here, or oneness, but in unity, love, and service, right? So in unity, love, and service, it acknowledges head, heart, and hara. But yeah, once we're in that beautiful, awesome space, then ideally we'll tap into the inspiration to do good works, right? Whatever your calling is. But thank you for sharing there. Awesome. And Amanda said again, as we are love, essentially, I feel my experience here as human through the contrast. So this way I expand remembering my essence, which is always my consciousness. Right on. So yeah, no matter, so in A Course in Miracles, it talks about you're able to, it uses the term transfer value, that what you cultivate through A Course in Miracles practice, a really good, solid meditation practice, can be transferred to any, quote, emergency that ever comes up. So in the most difficult, challenging times, if you found the piece of meditation and you know how to tap in, it doesn't matter what's happening in your life. It could be like everything is falling apart. Nothing is going the way you, quote, want it to go. It doesn't matter because life is going to do what life's going to do. And sometimes things are just happening. But while they're happening and you get to sit down in meditation, you found that wellspring of joy and peace and love inside of you, and it can't be taken away, right? Your body, might get stressed out. There's still a human body that's to deal with, you still have to use your body to deal with these challenging situations, but that consciousness is always there. Even if you're not feeling the love and the bliss, the consciousness is always there. So that's what my book, Peace Under All Circumstances, is all about. That as long as you find that peace first, then whatever's happening, you're able to return back to it. You don't want to start practicing meditation after you get stressed, right? I think I'll learn meditation after things get really rough. Like, learn meditation now, find the peace of your own consciousness now, and then it'll be there. It's always there, right? But you're able to tap into it anytime that you may want or need to. And the transfer value, meaning it'll take you through any difficult time. And the solution to any challenge is actually always in that space. In A Course in Miracles, one problem, one solution. The problem is separation. The solution is oneness. The only hell for a child of God is to feel separate from God. All the answers are in God. So when we just make that miraculous shift back to consciousness, back to spirit, back to peace, back to love, we actually find the answers to our issues are there. And sometimes the answer is do nothing. Everything's fine. Just be at peace, right? All you need is a quiet mind to sit out the next couple of days, and then something's going to be different. So thank you for sharing there, Amanda. Any other questions you're sharing? Anything anybody would like to bring to the table before we consider wrapping it up for the evening? All right. Well, if you guys keep showing up, I will as well. So we'll go for a month from now just to keep the Anahat meditation system teachings alive. Thank you, Dr. Abby, who has been working in Meetup to create an Anahat meditation group who's studying the sacred geometry of meditation. So that's awesome. And if anybody's been really going at this for a while and you'd like to get out there and share this in your own unique way, definitely just go through level 4, the certified teacher process, and I'll be happy to sign you off once you meet the standards to teach this, so you can start, keep the system intact. You're teaching the system the way I had it revealed to me, but just like I pull from Course in Miracles or whatnot to explain things, you're going to pull from your own knowledge and wisdom to explain things. Yet for me, Anahat meditation is one of the key foundations is like a guide post to know what's true, just like A Course in Miracles. Certain things I just have come to trust. This system is one of them. Course in Miracles is one of them. So this system can be a very core thing for you. But then, yeah, you'll teach it on your own unique way. So beautiful. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being here with me tonight. I'm going to close the meeting room down. If you have any questions or anything, just feel free to email, and I'll post on the website that we'll have class in about a month. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.